have as much jurisdiction as the two people here to my right do, because they will ultimately be making that decision, and I believe that they hear your concerns loud and clear. But one thing that I can do as a trustee is to continue to validate your realities, right? To continue to validate the reality and the fears that you're living in every day. So just know that when you come to the County Board of Ed, or you come to one of our meetings with your fears and your graphs and your data, that we will not hide that, we will not shy away from it. We own that with you. We own that reality with you. But the one thing I would want to say is I've been working with PAC since I was a school board member at Alum Rock around creating good schools. And what we need is, and I've mentioned this to PAC a few times, what we need is a parent movement, a true parent movement, not a charter school parent movement, not a traditional school parent movement, but we need parents as a whole together to come up here hand in hand from whatever school you come from and demand the quality education that your children deserve. So I'll continue to validate your realities. I'll continue to share and own what needs to get better quickly about public education. And I'm asking if you all will go out and organize your counterparts in traditional schools and bring them along with you and pack this room next time you come and demand this from us, because we're ready for it. And we want you to organize those parents in traditional schools as well.
I'd like to ask this question to our distinguished guest, and that is, will you encourage your staff at your schools to use positive language with their families and students that promotes community unity? Thank you.
Well, this answer should be shorter. Yes, absolutely, I will. But I, once again, want to go back to, I think that it's not just the leadership here, but it's absolutely the community that has to come together, and especially around using positive language. I just think of some examples over the last month. There were certain individuals who had nothing positive to say about traditional schools, and certain individuals who had nothing positive to say about charter schools. And until we break down those differences, and until we agree to be able to sit down together and to say we're going to do what's in the best interest of all of our children, especially our children who are living in this neighborhood, and the parents who want a quality middle school in the neighborhood, then the battles will continue. So it's absolutely, I agree, I pledge to work with my staff and the people I work with, but ultimately this is a pledge that we're all going to have to make.
La pregunta es que si vamos a trabajar con nuestro personal para que tengan una actitud positiva hacia la comunidad y otras escuelas. Lo que yo les digo es que obviamente que sí, eso es bien importante. No solamente lo voy a promover con el personal con la cual yo tengo contacto, sino con todos los gente de la comunidad con la cual yo trabajo aquí en esta área, porque yo creo que eso es algo bien importante. Y aparte les pido a ustedes que hagan lo mismo, porque esto va a mejorar por la participación de ustedes. Ustedes son el modelo principal de sus hijos, ustedes son el modelo principal de nuestra comunidad, y ustedes son una comunidad heroica. Lo que ustedes se propongan, ustedes se logran. Entonces yo sí me comprometo a eso, y les pido a ustedes igualmente que se comprometan a eso. Gracias.
Well, a lot of the conversation I have heard about has surprised me. I have not been witness to a lot of the issues that have been brought up as far as some of the hostilities. But I do believe that in addressing those, we need to change the focus. It's not about necessarily you stopping what you are necessarily saying about someone else, because sometimes you may not say it, but you're thinking it, right? So what we need to do is to change the thinking. And the thinking needs to be, how do we come together as a community to serve all kids? And whether they're in a charter school or they're in a traditional school or even a private school, whatever the school is and whatever the services that the students might need, I think we need to change the thinking for us to come together as a community. And the other thing I would say that is important is there's a story here. There's a story here. And you can write that story. And if you write that story where you put kids first, everyone will see you. Not just here in this community, but throughout this city and throughout the state. And so what you do is not even just for your kids, it's for all of the kids. And if you can come together and put this behind you and let your story be the light for every community that wants to do the right thing for our kids, it will be one of the greatest stories ever told. And so I hope you will embrace something like that. I hope you will say, let's come together and do what's best for kids, because it's so important for other people to see what you're doing in this particular community.
Thank you. Increasing the peace, using polite words, modeling that for our children is imperative, and we must all do that as adults if we work at a school or a part of the county office or on a school board. I pledge to certainly do that. One of the things that we're here tonight about is that middle school in the Sacred Heart Parish area. So I think there needs to be an action plan put together to make that happen. And I think that certainly the county office could be involved in that action plan, but I'd much prefer it be coming from San Jose Unified and Dr. Matthews' leadership to put together that plan. I know that something failed as far as DCP at Washington School because of the division that existed. That's unfortunate that occurred. I talked to Jennifer Andaluz at lunch, and she was very excited about that for DCP to go into the Washington community. And that failed because of the divisions. So we have to, as a first step, let's get beyond the divisions of Rocket Ship and Washington. Let's get beyond the divisions, as Dr. Matthews said, of charter school versus traditional public. It's about children. And as we stay focused on children, we will all be okay. That needs to be our adult focus. What is in the best needs of our children? And that is the best education for them, kindergarten through 8th grade and beyond.
I unfortunately have witnessed some of the hostility and language that goes back and forth, not only here in this community. I've witnessed it in Alum Rock, I've witnessed it in Morgan Hill. I've witnessed that, and I've witnessed it happen in a district I served in. I've witnessed it happen between parents who were friends. It's not good. One of Trustee DeSalvo's favorite things to say is the urgency of now. And here's the reality. We are facing that. It's the urgency of now. We don't have the luxury to continue this kind of hostility. Our children need us to get past it. And I'm sorry when I think about what has happened, particularly here in this neighborhood, that the hostility in politics that we see as board members and that we see in government, that is frankly what's wrong with the way we govern schools, right? The politics and the adult issues. I'm sorry that has trickled out of what is usually just the political circle that exists and has trickled in to your community. Because your community deserves better than that. I live in East San Jose. I went to Alum Rock Schools and to James Lick. And what I know from that side of town of this community is that this community is a strong community, and that this community is a united community, and that this community holds in it the history of our beautiful city. So it pains me to see and to hear about what's happening here. And we don't have that luxury. So frankly, I don't have all the answers on how I can help with unifying our community here. But I do know that I am committed to making sure that every parent is treated with respect, and that the fact that you bring to us your babies and you trust us with them, I cherish and honor that respect and trust that you put in our agencies. And I'm open to any solutions you might have on how I might be able to help ensure that parents feel respected and feel valued for the trust they put in us.
Buenas tardes, yo soy Ray García y tengo la última pregunta para la señora Castellanos. ¿Trabajará con nosotros para traer una nueva escuela secundaria excelente a nuestro vecindario?
La respuesta es que sí, obviamente es una necesidad de hace 42 años, pero todos tenemos que estar en la misma página. Y sí llegó una oportunidad, y fue hace poquito que llegó esa oportunidad y no estábamos listos como comunidad. Y entonces yo les propongo que en este año próximo, a lo mejor 2, realmente nos enfoquemos en las cosas que nos unen, en las cosas que son común, en las cosas que nos ayudan a sobrevivir. Y también que tomemos en cuenta que esta discusión de charter o no charter realmente es nos quita energía de nuestra comunidad. El enfoque principal es cuál es la calidad, cómo llegamos a calidad y cómo nos aseguramos que a nivel estatal invertimos en esa calidad. Porque aunque nos estamos peleando aquí entre las escuelas, la realidad es que no hay suficientes fondos. En comparación al resto del país, nosotros invertimos menos que cualquier otro estado y somos el estado más rico de este país. Y entonces tenemos que organizarnos a ese nivel político y a ese nivel ciudadano para asegurar y decirle a nuestros representantes, no estos, sino los que están a nivel del estado, que tienen que invertir más en la educación. Ha habido cambios pequeños que han sido muy positivos, pero la realidad es que nosotros somos el estado más rico de este país y no estamos invirtiendo de esa manera. Y nuestros hijos son los más perjudicados. Entonces tenemos que darle ese enfoque, nuestra energía que estamos desgastando aquí, tiene que estar a este nivel estatal, para ver cómo traemos más recursos, para enfrentar la realidad que nuestros jóvenes no sobresalen porque somos familias pobres, que no tienen tiempo y que no tienen recursos. Y en el momento que tengamos más recursos, vamos a poder resolver los problemas, no la competición entre escuelas, sino la idea de que tenemos que invertir más y que nosotros somos los que podemos mandar ese mensaje. Gracias.
Thank you all to our honored guests for being here and for your responses. Tonight represents the beginning of a new chapter, of the new chapter that we are creating together, that we are focusing on the children, that charter schools, that conventional schools, that private schools, that isn't the conversation. The conversation is, what is an excellent school? We need to work on that. I want to make something very clear, and I'm coming off of what I agreed on, but I want to make something very clear as the soon-to-be senior chair of PACT. We are not pro-charter, okay? We are not pro-charter. We are pro-children. Our children need our elected officials. Our children need us to unite together. We need to talk to our neighbors, even if they've shunned you, even if it has been difficult, because you need to love their babies so that they can love your babies. We all got to take care of one another. So I wanted to make that really, really clear about that. So change is really hard. It's been an interesting week, I'll tell you that. But we're going to need to stick it together, stick it through. We've got to do this. Because failure is not an option, is it?
So, después de todo lo que han oído, ¿qué creen? ¿Se puede? Sí, se puede. 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 Gracias. Ahora lo que les vamos a pedir es, hay unas pledge cards que si por favor pudieran firmar para demostrar que estamos unidos como comunidad. Y en estas cartas dicen, me comprometo que voy a traer paz y unidad a mi comunidad. También me comprometo a ayudar a mi comunidad, traer una escuela secundaria de excelencia a nuestro vecindario. También trabajaré a asegurar que mis hijos, vecinos y colegas trabajen para crear paz y unidad. We are now going to invite our community leader, Leti Gomez, to give a brief summary of tonight's commitments, followed by Father Walter, who will give a closing word of prayer.
I just invited myself. So, hi, Leti.
Hi, Omar. This is Omar. Go ahead.
Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Omar Torres. I'm an executive director at Santa Maria Urban Ministry. Buenas tardes. Yo me llamo Omar Torres y soy el director del Centro Urbano de Santa Maria. And I grew up in this neighborhood. I didn't go to a middle school in this neighborhood because I didn't have a chance to. I went to Hoover Middle School and I also went to Washington Elementary School. Yo fui a Hoover Middle School y también fui a la escuela Washington hace muchísimos años.
So I'm Leti Gomez. I'm the business manager here at Sacred Heart Church, and I did not grow up in this community. I actually grew up on the East San Jose, like Trustee Green. I grew up in Allen Rock School District, Eastside Union School District, but I've been a parishioner here for many, many years since I was a teenager. So this is my second home, this community, and I have the privilege to work with a lot of you from our parishioners, and it saddens me to see the division in our community. So we're going to give a brief summary of the questions and the responses from our elected officials. So for the first question on how can you help us to work together in unity in our community, Trustee Teresa said that she is going to listen to the community and that she'll do her part to promote peace in our community.
Board Member DeSalvo said education for all, which is important, and the best response, a quality middle school in this area.
So Superintendent Matthews, he said that as a district, they are about creating quality middle schools or schools in general, and that there should not be a division in the district, and ask us, the community, to work together to be able to provide quality schools in our community.
Trustee Darcy Green, whom I've known for a very long time, also said a quality education for our community would bring unity, and we need to organize our parents to talk with each other and have dialogue.
And President Leon said that the community is the answer, that we need to go out and invite other parents to be here, to be a part of this conversation, to be able to provide the solution, to be able to move forward as a community in unity.
On the second question, will you encourage your staff at your schools to use language with their families and students that promotes community unity? Trustee Castellanos, who I've also known for a long time, said that up to she's going to instruct staff and the community to work together and, again, have dialogue with each other.
So President Leon said that the community needs to come together. We are the ones to write the story. We need to put the children first and put our differences behind us.
Superintendent Matthews said that we have to sit together and go over our differences.
Trustee DeSalvo, increasing the peace by using polite words and pledges to do that himself, and that there needs to be an action plan put together by the district in order for us to have a middle school in our community of Sacred Heart and Washington area, and that we need to go beyond the division between the different schools.
Trustee Green, we need to focus on the children, and we need to end hostility among each other.
And the final question to Trustee Teresa Castellanos is, will you work with us to bring a new excellent spirit to our middle school to our neighborhood? And she said, yes, that we all need to be on the same page. We need to focus on quality schools, what is a quality school, and how can we get there? And that we need to organize ourselves as a community to demand better schools here in our area.
Alrighty, so we talked about the pledge. Now it's up to us to fulfill that pledge. So please raise your right hand. Todos, por favor, levanta su mano and repeat. I pledge that I will bring peace and unity to our community.
Me comprometo que voy a traer paz, unidad y felicidad.
Are you going to do it? Okay, good. Now I'm Spanish.
Me comprometo que voy a traer paz y unidad a mi comunidad.
I also pledge to help my community bring an excellent middle school to our neighborhood.
También me comprometo a ayudar a mi comunidad a traer una escuela secundaria de excelencia a nuestro vecindario.
I will work to ensure my children, neighbors, and colleagues work to create peace and unity. Unity and peace.
También trabajaré a asegurar que mis hijos, vecinos y colegas trabajen para crear paz y unidad.
Great. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank you all for being here. I think this other hope that we can work together for the children and for the education of all. And thank you all for being here, especially for your busy time to make this moment to be with us. I would like to share the same prayer that I said in Spanish before and now to say in the prayer of St. Francis in English. Lord, make us instruments of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Lord, grant that we not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in Him that we receive, it is in our name that we are born. Thank you so much.
Gracias, Father Walter, por compartir esa oración con nosotros. Nomás para concluir el programa, les queremos decir la importancia de que se involucren en este esfuerzo. Sabemos que los cambios no suceden de un día para otro y esta tarde avanzamos más hacia nuestra meta y a los sueños que tenemos para nuestros hijos y nuestra comunidad. No queremos perder más tiempo y queremos tomar los próximos pasos para hacer los compromisos de esta tarde una realidad. Ojalá todos firmaron la tarjeta y pusieron su información porque nos queremos poner en contacto con ustedes para invitarlos a esas próximas juntas que vamos a tener para trabajar juntos con la comunidad. Y nuestra compañera Blanca también va a estar recogiendo las tarjetas. Gracias, Blanca.
On behalf of this community and all the partners who made this evening possible, we thank you especially to Father Walter and Sacred Heart Parish and to the Madre a Madre group at Washington School and the Folklorico moms that made the flowers that you all will hopefully are enjoying, and our PAC parent leaders. The event today has clearly demonstrated that we are united and we are committed. Thank you again to our elected officials, Dr. Vince Matthews, you're wonderful. He does really great work. I'm very proud of him. And thank you all again for joining us. Please join us for some beverages. Did we get some pan dulce? Ya está? It's ready? Great. Please join us and do return the headsets.
Sí, por favor, si pueden regresar al el equipo de traducción. Muchas gracias.